Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. In this video, I am going to be spinning a wheel, and the app that I use is literally just called Spin the Wheel, and I have my cross-stitch projects on there, and every time that I spin the wheel, my goal is to try and do 1,000 stitches on that project. And then in between wheel spins, so after I do 1,000 stitches on a project, then I am trying to do 200 stitches on a project that I want finished, which is Pokemon Switch by Glitch Stitch AU. I'll insert that artwork here. And so yeah, every 1,000 stitches, I will do 200 stitches on that one project I want to get finished and hopefully get it finished sometime soon. And the projects that are currently left on the wheel, there's not a lot left because it is towards the end of the month, and I put all of my projects on at the beginning of the month, and now we're down to I think the final 2. I do have one carryover project, so in my last video I had spun the wheel and I had gotten the chart Christmas 2, which is artwork by Ciro Marchetti and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I think I had only done 200 or 300 stitches on that project, and so I will be starting off the video by doing my stitching on that project, and then after that we will get into some wheel spins. So let's get to the stitching. So this is the artwork for Christmas 2 by Ciro Marchetti, and I am currently working in this area here that has a little snow globe with a little house, and so that's where it is on my fabric. And this is on a 32 count 1/1 half cross, and I am using CXC floss because it gives a little bit better coverage on the 32 count with only one strand. And so yeah, I need to go and get to stitching. I need to do I need to look and see exactly how many stitches I did. I'm not sure if it was 200 or if it was 300. I just know that it wasn't a ton. And I will be continuing to work in this little snow globe because I really want to see how it's going to turn out. Will there be very many of the details? And also there's just a lot of colors in that little snow globe. So there's the greens and the reds and the browns. There's a little bit of blue in the window. So I am excited to get stitching, and I will be back once I have an update on this piece. Also, I was going to mention really quick too that I had talked about how I will be doing stitches on a Pokemon project in between wheel spins, and I have actually already done the 200 stitches on Pokemon Switch for this project. So once I finish my stitching on Christmas 2, I can just go right into a wheel spin because I thought that I was going to have this stitching done yesterday, which was Monday, and I did not. And so I had already just done the stitching on Pokemon Switch because I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to get these 1,000 stitches in. I did not. And so yeah, I'd already done my stitching on Pokemon Switch. So that's already done. Yay. And then we'll go right into wheel spins when I come back with this project. I am back and I have done my stitching on Christmas 2. It is currently the next day. It is Tuesday. No, it is Wednesday. My days of the week are all messed up because my kids had Monday off from school. And so Tuesday felt like it should have been Monday because it was their first day in school for the week. But no, it's Tuesday, yesterday, today's Wednesday. I will get it together. Anyways, so yesterday on Tuesday, I was able to do all 750 stitches on Christmas 2. And so I have done 1,000 stitches on this project. And so that means it is time for me to spin the wheel. Talking about where I was working though, I was doing a lot of these orangey colors. And I was like, what is this going to be? Because I could tell that the house was going to be here because I could see that the colors I was stitching were making the point for the house. And so I was like, what is this then? If the house is here, what is this? But I can tell now that there is a plant in the background and you can see it through the snow globe. And so that's what that is. It's the plant. So that's fun. So now I know what that is. And I was also kind of hoping I would get to more greens because you can see that there's some green leafy bits there, but no, I did not really get greens. It was just a lot of oranges and colors like that. So that is my stitching on Christmas 2, and now it is time for me to spin the wheel. My wheel currently only has 2 projects left, which are Witcher, right here from Thread Geeks, and then Dragon Race into the Night, which is artwork by Rose Kahn and charted by Pain Free Crafts. So we're going to spin the wheel and see what I will work on right now first, and then the other project will obviously be what I end up working on next. So let's see which one will be worked on first. And it looks like it's going to be Dragon Race Into the Night, which I love that project. It is so fun. There is a lot of things that I cannot wait to stitch on in that project. Like there's like the castle and dragons and people. One thing that I wanted to do real quick for Dragon Race Into the Night is I don't know where I want to stitch. I can't decide if I want to stitch going over into the sky more or doing the tree. And so I made a wheel and we're going to spin that and see where I will be stitching on Dragon Race Into the Night. And then after that, I will pull up the mock-up on Pattern Keeper so we can see the artwork. Okay, so it looks like we are going to be going down into the tree right here. And I am excited because I want to see more of the things in this chart. So here is the artwork for Dragon Race Into the Night. I love this artwork. I love the colors. Like there is so much like purples and blues, and then you have like some pinks, the green in that dragon there, and there's just a lot of things too that are going on. So, you know, you have fireworks over here in a boat, and then all the stuff down here. You have the person and the dragon and the people, and yeah, there's just a lot of details. And so I really love charts like that where there is just going to be a lot of things to stitch. It won't be like a boring project, you know? And so I will be working on the tree. So I started in the top corner. I have done, this is page 1. Page 2 is almost finished over here. And now I will be going and working down in the tree for this rotation, and I need to do 1,000 stitches, and then I will be back and I will either spin the wheel or I could possibly do like I did with Cozy Winter Book Nook where I kept it out for another 1,000 stitches. So we will see what I end up doing. I am back with 1,000 stitches into Dragon Race Into the Night, and I was working on the tree, and it was just a lot of dark stitches because I'm working down the side of the tree currently. And I will say that the pages on Pain Free Craft charts are pretty small. So this here is like the top of the bottom of the first row of pages. And then this is the bottom of the next row of pages. So yeah, they're pretty short little pages. I also don't know if I had mentioned it, but Dragon Race Into the Night is being stitched on a 28 count fabric, 2/1 half cross. And so yeah, my 1,000 stitches are done, which means I'm going to be switching projects. Also, I had to do stitching on Pokemon Switch, so let me get that real quick. Alright, this is Pokemon Switch, which is by Glitch Stitch AU. I have a starting picture of where I was before I started working on it after Dragon Race Into the Night. And so what I'm doing is every 1,000 stitches on one of my big full coverage projects, I am doing 200 stitches into this chart because I want to get this chart finished. And here's the mock-up of it. So this is from Glitch Stitch AU on Etsy. And yeah, it's just this 3 starters from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And you will notice that the Joy-Cons on mine are different colors. They're originally charted to be red and blue, but I switched them to be the colors that my Joy-Cons are. So I switched them to like a green and then a blue. Anyways, where did I stitch on this? I did 200 stitches into the brown right here that's at the bottom of the switch. And then I also had started a thread going up the Joy-Con here, and that was my 200 stitches. And so I am ready to move on to my next full coverage project, which is going to be Witcher by Thread Geeks. So this is the chart Witcher, which, like I said before, it's by Thread Geeks, and it's currently retired, I'm pretty sure. And the last time I worked on this in January, I was working on the face, and I had said that the next time I worked on it, I would do background. So I'm going to be alternating between doing face and background. So last time was face, this time is going to be background, and you can see there's like quite a bit of just kind of a background that's not that exciting, and so I don't want to save all the background for the last and then get really bored. And also I was going to mention too, this is the last piece that is left on the wheel. So that's why I'm working on it without having to spin, because it's the only thing left on my spin the wheel right now. And that means that once I do 1,000 stitches on Witcher, I will be putting projects back onto the wheel, and then I think I might just start over. So I'm going to put all of like the full coverage pieces back onto the wheel, and then we will be starting over with a rotation. So that is what I will be doing. Also, this piece is a 25 count 2/1 10 stitch, which is a half stitch. And yeah, so I'm going to go get stitching. I'm hoping I can do this background stitching fast because the background is a lot of kind of like chunks of blocks of color. And so I will be back once I have done my stitching on Witcher. It is now Monday, February 23rd, and I have done my 1,000 stitches on Witcher, and I was just focusing on filling in the background. And this actually took me more days than I thought it would, considering the fact that it's literally just background, and I think I was only doing like 2 different colors in the background. But I think part of it is that, you know, it's kind of boring, and so that doesn't really motivate me to work, because I was kind of like, I'm not going to see any details from this, you know, like on like Cozy Winter Book Nook, I was getting to stitch and be like, there's a cat appearing, even though you couldn't tell it was a cat, but you know what I mean. I was actually stitching where things would be, whereas on this one, it's just background right now, which is not very exciting, but the next time I pull it out, I will be working on his face again. So here is what I have done on his face so far. And like I've mentioned before, it looks kind of creepy to just have like the eyes partially done. You have like, you know, nostrils, but not a full nose. And so he really needs the rest of his face eventually. And then after I worked on Witcher, I needed to do 200 stitches on Pokemon Switch. And so I did 200 more stitches on Pokemon Switch. And my stitches were done. I did the gray color that's here for the Joy-Con. And then also I did some of like the bezel around the screen. Because you know how screens have like the border between where the edge of the tablet is and where the screen starts. Yeah. So I did some of like the bezel area, but I also didn't want to move the hoop. So that's why I didn't keep going this way. And then I also did some green for the grass. And I need to order the color. There's 2 different blues I need for here. So I need to order that blue, and then I can start filling in the rest of the Joy-Con, which I'm excited to see that be finished. That's also going to be really easy stitching because there's like one color that's used mostly here, and then down here there is a color that's, I think, lighter, so like a lighter shade, so you get like some shadowy looking effect going on. And yeah, that was all my stitching, and now it is time for me to spin the wheel again and pick my next project. So here is my wheel right now. I added most of the projects back on. There are 2 that I left off, I think, though, and I left off Witcher because I just worked on it. And then I also left off Christmas 2, which is the one I started with at the beginning of this video, just because I don't really feel, I'm not in the Christmas season anymore. Like, we're at March, so I'm really ready to rotate that project out on March 1st. And I think the project that will be going and replacing it is Sanctuary. So that's like a more colorful piece with some flowers and fairies and stuff. So I am going to be ready for like a spring project and to get rid of Christmas. Anyways, so I'm going to spin the wheel and we will see what project I end up working on next. And we have one of my favorites, Rose Library, which is artwork by Ivy Dollamore and charted by Unconventional X Stitch. And I will go and grab that so we can see where I'm starting at. So here is Rose Library, and the last time I worked on it, I was working on filling in this section right here, which is the bookshelf over on this side. And I am not sure if I want to keep working there or if I want to work down and start working on the flowers. And so I made a spin the wheel so I can spin the wheel and decide which area I'm going to work on. So here is my wheel, which has flowers or books. So we will see which area I end up working on today. And we have flowers, which I'm really excited about because like I was talking about before, I would like to work on like kind of like somewhat springy, flowery, colorful things. So that is perfect. So I will real quick go back to the mock-up so we can look at the area that I will be stitching on, see the fun things. So the area, I need to move my fabric. The area I'm going to be working on is down here. So there's the vase with these flowers. I think it would be really fun to get to like this like kind of purpley one. That would be fun. And then there's like also like this floral wreath looking thing there. So I am excited to get to work on some flowers, and I will be back once I have done 1,000 stitches. Also, I just realized real quick, this is on 25 count, 2/1 half cross. Half cross to me does go fairly fast. I think I can usually do like 200 or 300 stitches in like an hour when I'm doing half cross if I don't have a lot of color changes. So that's the reason why I'm usually able to do like 1,000 stitches in a day sometimes. It's just because it goes pretty fast when you're doing a half cross and you don't have a lot of color changes. But anyways, I'm going to get to stitching and I will see you all in the next update. I am back and it is currently March now. I think it is Monday, March 2nd. And I actually finished my stitching on Rose Library on, I think, Friday, and then I took the weekend off from stitching and I was just reading books. So I don't have any other progress to show, even though it's been a while since I filmed my last video clip. All I have to show is my progress on Rose Library. And so I did my 1,000 stitches and I was working on this purple flower, and so to get there I had to do some stitches over here and then traveled my way over to like this purpley flower, and I love it. It is so pretty. I am so happy with these colors, especially now that we're getting into springtime. The sun is out today. It's glorious. It's amazing. I will say too that I was supposed to do 200 stitches on Pokemon Switch because every, rotation on a project, I am supposed to work on Pokemon Switch, and I have not done that yet because I am waiting on an order of floss to come in because I need some colors for the Joy-Con that I want to work on. And so I'm just going to write down that I need to do 200 stitches on Pokemon Switch for this. And then once I get my floss, which I think it's supposed to come in tomorrow, then I will make up for the fact that I haven't done those stitches yet. And so yeah, that's it for this video though, because I am ready to get into a March video. And so yeah, I will see you all in my next update video. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Bye!